Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to dive into one of the most powerful and Pythonic features you can use in your code, list comprehensions. If you want to write cleaner, faster, and more readable Python code, you need to know how these work. Alright? I know when I started, I would see these and I couldn't really wrap my head around it and I didn't really understand how it works. I could see some of the same syntax and for loops were involved, but I just didn't know what was going on. So for this video, I'm going to break it down, and it's actually way easier than it looks. And once you have it down, it makes your code more readable and it's more condensed. It's shorter code that you have to write. So let's start with this example. And I'm sure you guys already know what's going on here, but if you don't, let me just break it down and explain. We have this list of numbers here from 1 through 9, all right? Then we have this empty list of evens. It's going to store all the even numbers that are present in our numbers list. And to do that, we go through this loop for num and nums, so for each number in our nums list, and then apply this condition to that num, right? And this condition, if you don't know what it's doing, all it's saying is, okay, so if num modulus 2 is 0, what that's saying is if for the number, when we divide it by 2, if the remainder is 0, then let's add it to our evens list using this append method. And the reason why we check it like this is because, well, when there's an even number and you divide it by 2, you should get a remainder of 0, right? If you don't get a remainder of 0, then that number isn't even, right? And that's how we're going to add all the even numbers in our list to this evens list. I hope that explains it. If I print this, we can see we get all the even numbers present in this list, right? So 2, 4, 6, and 8. But we can actually do this in one line of code. And the way we're going to do that is using list comprehension. And to start, let me just move this down over here and make it a little bit more readable. And to start, we're going to write all of our code inside of these square brackets, right? So our code is going to be wrapped inside of these brackets. And then it's going to be assigned to this evens variable. So the first thing we need to write is the value that we want to change. Actually, let me write the full code and then I'll go through it and explain everything little by little how it works. All right, so that's it. This is the same as what I had up here, but in one line. So you can already see the same syntax in some areas, right? It's the same thing. We're doing the same thing, but just in a one-liner, more Pythonic, more powerful way. This shortens up our whole block of code by a lot, right? 3 lines. All right, so the first thing we want to write for this scenario, note that for other scenarios, it's going to be a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same thing. So for this scenario, the value that we want to apply the condition to, right? So if we go to our for loop here, this condition is being applied for to each number in our nums list, right? And that's what we have to write here, the value in that we want the condition to be applied to. So num, that's the value that we want our condition to be applied to. And now we write the same for loop syntax right here. The same syntax that we start our for loop with, we we write it here for num and nums. And then our condition, which is the same syntax as our condition in our for loop. And that is how we do list comprehension. If I would print this out again, well, not again, but if I printed this out, we could see we get the same list, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Right? And I hope that makes sense, right? So the value that we want to apply the condition to, our syntax for our for loop for num and nums without this colon, and then the syntax for our condition if num modulus 2 is 0. And that's list comprehension. Now, if I wanted to do something else and say, you know what, let's square those numbers instead. So I could, I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to change it. But I could say, okay, let's square it. Let's create a new list squared equals, your square brackets, and now we want to start with a value, but also the expression. So each number is going to be squared. So num squared, and then our for loop syntax for num and nums. And that's it. We don't have to do a condition because we're not using a condition in this case. We're just going through each number and squaring it, right? And this is the only other way that this would change, right? Because we're not gonna have a condition. We're just gonna apply this expression. We're gonna square each number for the numbers in our numbers list, right? In our nums list. Now, if I were to print this squared list, we're gonna see that all our numbers are now squared. So we see right here 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, and 81. All squared numbers from this original list. And that is how we use list comprehension, right? So I hope that this was kind of clear for you guys, and I hope I didn't butcher it, but this really helped me. Someone taught it to me like this, and it really helped me understand and grasp and actually start using this. It's very powerful. We can see we already pretty much cut all that out just to print our evens list, to how much shorter our code is, right? So it is way more powerful, way more cleaner, and once you get used to it, it's way easier to understand and read. If you found this helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more Python tutorials and coding tips. Let me know in the comments what other Python features you want to learn about next. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.